Emiliana Rodriguez. My name is Emiliana Rodriguez, and I will have the pleasure of facilitating this webinar that we have this live session webinar. I'm a co-founder at Made for Joy, but also a research affiliate at the Human Flourishing Program at Harvard. And as you know, this program is the result of the collaboration of many organizations. Of course, the Human Flourishing Program at Harvard, specifically with the evidence-based parenting group, Research Schools International, University of Navarra, University of La Rioja, Fundación Azteca, and Made for Joy. So we're very happy to have you here. And we want to share today the objective of the program, but we will be sharing very important content. The idea is to give you a context of this first unit of content, to share with you how is the structure of the lessons that you will be receiving over the next weeks, and of course to interact with you and to answer any question you have about this first chunk of useful content that you will have. So the objectives of this program is really to empower parents to develop the disposition skills to attain the following, which is bring patience, serenity, and joy to your parenting, promote a positive family climate with healthy relationships at the foundation, support patience, serenity, joy, flourishing, and loving relationships in yourself and your children. And also, as you know, we will be evaluating all this program. So we're running this randomized control trial to assess the impact of the program. So for us, before starting with the content today, it's very essential that we have the surveys filled up. So I know that many of you already filled up the surveys for yourself and for your children, but we will be asking you before starting to continue with that. And we also want to share with you some important information about how we will be communicating with you over the next days. So I will ask my colleague Catherine to join us and share some important information with you.
Hi, everyone. So yes, we'll be communicating with you all over email and a WhatsApp channel. Now, many of you have been able to join the WhatsApp channel, and that's great. Please, we're going to ask that you keep checking it. And some of you have had some issues joining the WhatsApp channel, and we really appreciate that you've reached out to us. We've been in touch with engineers at WhatsApp trying to solve the joining issue. I'm going to ask that you try it again. I'm going to post the channel here. This is that's the link to join the channel. You can also join using the QR code, which you can see on the page. And the last thing I'm going to ask is that you turn your notifications on, because some of you have reached out to us saying that you were able to join the channel, but you've missed some of the posts because you didn't see them coming through. So we're going to ask that you turn the notifications on for that. And that you can see in the lower right-hand corner of this page. If you're in the channel, you'll see that there's a bell with a line through it. Just tap the bell so that that will unmute the channel for you. And that's all. And again, if you are unable to join the channel, please don't worry at all, because we're going to continue to email all information and materials for the program. So they're going to be communicated through both platforms. Thanks.
Thank you. And as I mentioned before, for us, before starting with the content, it's very important to make sure that you filled up the survey, the parent questionnaire. So we are sharing here with you the link and the QR code, just in case that you haven't done it. We will provide 10 minutes now for those who still need to fill up the survey. So either the parents questionnaire or the child questionnaire that we will be sharing here, and also sharing with you through the QA questions. Yes, so just remember that in case of the child questionnaire, please grab your child if it's she or he is around. And the idea is that it should be answered just by one child that is between the ages of 9 and 17 years old. They will be asked to enter a mobile phone. So it's not the child's mobile phone, but it's actually your number, the one that we need before starting the survey, because your mobile number is the one that will allow us to track everything during this research project. So please share with your child your number, and that is the one that we need in that survey. So we will play some music for 10 minutes to allow you to do this if you haven't done it. If you already did it, please bear with us for 10 minutes. You can have a coffee or whatever you need. And in 10 minutes, we will be back with the main content of this webinar. So, um, so yes, see you in 10 minutes. Okay, thank you so much for those who were filling up the survey. Thank you so much for your patience for those who already did it. And it will stay open if your child wasn't around. So it will stay open until tomorrow. So you still have until tomorrow to fill up the child questionnaire and also the parent questionnaire in case that you haven't done it. But we will begin now with the content of this first webinar. And for this, we will start with 3 questions and a challenge. So we will ask you to please think for a moment on what do you wish for yourself as a person, first, as a parent, next, but what do you wish for yourself? The second question is, what do you wish for your child and for other young people in the world? And the third question is, what is for you the purpose of parenting? Okay? And the challenge is that we will ask you to write down in the chat or answer to these 3 questions, but in one single word. What I mean is one word that answer the 3 questions, okay? So please feel free to write in the chat whenever you feel ready. One word that answers what do you wish for yourself? What do you wish for your child and for other young people in the world? And what is the purpose of parenting? And I have one answer, which is peace. Thank you, Corinne. Which other words come to your mind and to your heart? Tranquility, kindness, peace, success, leadership. Thank you. Resilience, happiness, mental well-being. Yes, happiness, success, empowerment, resilience, fulfillment, happiness 3 times, compassion, health, peace, resilience. Yes, mental well-being. Wonderful. Harmony, success. I have had the privilege to ask these questions to thousands of parents in the world, but also to teachers and to some young people. And of course, in every group, I have a different kind of answers. But over the years, what has become very clear is that even though the words are different and or the emphasis is different between groups, we always have words relating to these 3 big categories. The first category is well-being. So of course we all want happiness, well-being. I read here satisfaction, mental well-being, joy. That is something that we definitely want for us, for a child, and for all children in the world, actually. But not only that, right? The first word that I got was peace. And we also got love in some other spaces, tranquility, kindness. All those are values. So values are very important also for us. And another kind of answers that I also saw here is related, for example, to success. Success, growth, opportunities, leadership, this um, capacity of developing our potentials, of learning, of growing, of expanding. So those are the kind of words that we obtain in most of our groups. And some years ago, one teacher told me that her word was flourishing. And actually, human flourishing is a very important concept that we will be working throughout this program. So, according to UNESCO, actually, human flourishing is the purpose of education. And we know that education starts at home by our parenting practices. And UNESCO defines flourishing as both the optimal and continued development of human potentials, which is this category of growth and learning, but also as living a good life, good well being. So, that is the first category of well being. But for that, it involves engaging in activities that are meaningful and aligned with both our personal values and humanistic values. So the category of values is included, of course, in this definition of UNESCO. And Harvard University has been leading a program, as you know, for understanding what's human flourishing and what are the dimensions that we have to care about when we're talking about human flourishing. And here are at least 5 dimensions, which includes happiness and life satisfaction. That is something that you all wrote. Physical and mental health, that's another dimension. To have meaning and purpose in our life. To have character and virtue, and close social relationships. So those are the main dimensions that we know that promote human flourishing, and that we will be working in this program in different ways for us first and then for our children. So what do you think that is the parental influence on children's flourishing? And I think that you can see from the image, right? Of course, we have a great influence on the possibilities for our children to flourish. First of all, because as you know, children don't learn from what we say, they learn from what we do. So they are actually all the time following up on our steps for the good things that we do, but also for the not so good things that we do. And for the things that we are not even aware that we're doing, our children are picking that up and integrating them into their own identity. So we are a great influence on our children's flourishing. And there's a very interesting cycle that has been studied also in the relationship between parents and children regarding flourishing. And it's that we can create positive cycles for flourishing, or we can create um, like, not constructive cycles for flourishing. And what do we mean by this? As you noticed, so one of the main dimensions for human flourishing is relationships. And the relationship that we have with our child is key in our well-being, right? So we feel probably very good in general when we feel connected to our children, when we feel that we are really part of the same team. But those times that we feel disconnected from them, it's very painful for both sides. So something that we have seen is that when parents start working on themselves, when parents start flourishing themselves, that is noticed by our child. And if we work also in making a close and loving relationship, then we will start seeing how our child starts like manifesting very good or positive flourishing behavior. And that makes us even more happy, right? So as we are more happy and more flourishing, that is picked up by our child, and then this is a positive cycle of flourishing. And that is something that is behind the design of this program, because we will start providing you, I mean, in all the units of the program, but especially in this one, we will start providing you with some tools to get to know yourself better, to work on self-care, so that we can start flourishing. Um, and what we are expecting is that our child will notice this, that our relationship will be a bit closer, and that will give us even more satisfaction, more purpose, more energy to continue with this work. So we want to, for sure, being a good example for our child. We want to see them flourishing. We all wrote right here very beautiful words that describe what we want for ourselves and for them. However, how many of you sometimes or many times feel closer to this image that we see in the presentation? Do you connect with that? That you want to offer the best example, you want to be serene and patient and connected, but at the same time, we have so many responsibilities, right? And we have a lot of stress going on in our lives. So how many of you feel like that? Please write in the chat if some of you feel connected with this image that I'm posting here. Yes, for sure. Totally. Yes. So yesterday we ran this webinar with our group from the Spanish speaking population, many people from Latin America and Spain. And they were like, yeah, totally. But here also, right? 100% agree. Yeah, this is universal. This is universal. Yeah, that we feel all stretched with a lot of stress in our lives. So I want to ask you also if you can rate from 0 to 10 how stressed you feel right now at this very moment, where 0 is nothing at all and 10 is like I'm on the verge of burnout. How do you feel now? 8, 7, so high. Yes. 8, we have some relax. 3, 5, 8, 3, 8, 6, 7. Okay. 6, 7. So keep that number for you also in your mind. We will be working with this number later in this webinar. Okay, 5, 7. So actually, mostly the same numbers that we found in the Spanish speaking group too. Okay. So something that we know is that if we are stressed, even if we know what good parenting looks like, what flourishing looks like, it's very hard to actually embody these conducts. So our first unit that we will be working, starting now, of course, but then you will be getting lessons every Tuesday and Thursday. We will be working on those topics that you see in the screen. So this first unit is around ingredients for flourishing as a family. We will start with our vision and purpose because working on this vision of what do we want for ourselves and our child is actually an evidence-based practice that is protecting us from stress. When we are very stressed, we tend to be very reactive and we just are solving day-to-day challenges and problems. And this will help us to have this higher vision of what do we want for ourselves, for our child, and for our work as parents. We will be working also on this long-term vision that we want to build together, but also with some self-care practices to really care about our mental well-being, as you mentioned, one of our participants, that it's so important for flourishing. So this is the syllabus that we will be working over the next 4 weeks. And we will be working along these 5 dimensions with each one of these topics. But I wanted to center now on why is it so important to work on our vision, our meaning and purpose for ourselves, for our children, but also for the parenting. So this is a picture of Laszlo Polgar family. Do you know who was Laszlo Polgar? If someone knows, please write in the chat if you know who was Laszlo Polgar. I don't see any answers, so maybe you don't know about him, but he was an Hungarian psychologist who firmly believed that the idea that the talent is something that can be cultivated from an early age with the right methodology and practice. So he had 3 daughters and he loved chess. So he and his wife, Clara, raised their children with a very intensely chess focused environment with the goal that their daughters will become talented and even becoming chess champions. And these were the results. So actually, Susan Polgar, who was born in 1969, she was the first woman to achieve the title of international grandmaster and rose to become one of the world's top players in chess. Sofia Polgar was also excelled at chess. At the age of 14, she scored a remarkably victory at the tournament in Rome. And Judith is widely regarded as the greatest female chess player of all time. She achieved the title of international grandmaster at the age of 15 years old. And at her peak, he was ranked among the top 10 players in the world. So it seems that Polgar had a little bit of reason, right? And what is interesting about Laszlo Polgar is we are not here to teach you some parenting techniques so that your child will become great chess players. But what we want to take from this story is that Laszlo had a parenting plan, right? He had a vision And he was doing all his actions, creating the environment to follow up with that parenting plan. So the first step in this parenting program is that we want to move from having passive parenting, which is a kind of parenting when we are acting according to our habits, to what we were taught in our, by our culture, by our own family, our own customs, and mainly also of our own instincts, right? We have a lot of emotions going on in the process of parenting, and we're sometimes just reacting to those instincts and emotions. So that's what we call passive parenting. And we want to move from that to active parenting, to create a plan that we put into practice. So this first unit is going to be very focused on helping you creating your own plan. So we won't impose a plan for you. We will guide you so that you can design that parenting plan that is active, that is conscious. And of course, our suggestion is that it will be aligned with the dimensions of human flourishing. So the bigger plan is that we can really help our children to develop all the skills and attitudes and to have the right environment to flourish in all dimensions of human flourishing. So that's what we're going to be working. But for that, as I mentioned, something very important to transition from a reactive or passive way of parenting to an active way of parenting is that we are able to be calm and conscious and taking really conscious decisions. And for that, I want to share one first tool with you. So I'm going to stop sharing the, the screen so that you can see me better. Okay, so something that it's very important to transition to an active way of parenting, it's our attention. Yes, so, what happens most of the time for us, and especially if we are stressed, if we are in the 6, 7, 8 numbers, is that our mind becomes very distracted and we have a lot of noise inside our heads. One of the metaphors for this noise, loud noise in our heads, is that our mind becomes like a monkey, monkeys that are jumping from one place to another. So our mind feels sometimes like that, jumping from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, always worried, always, yeah, looking for uh, another thing to get more stressed about. So I want to share with you a little story that is a story of the monkey and the panda. So, monkeys are very active, pandas are very zen and calm. And so these monkey and pandas were best friends. But monkey had a level of stress around 8, 9. He was very stressed out. And he saw that panda was very calm. And he reached to him and asked him, "Hey, panda, please help me. Tell me what you're doing to be so calm and clear during these difficult times." And the panda was like, Punky, you and I are best friends. We're all the time together. We have breakfast together, then we go to work together. We're at work all day. Many times we spend our afternoons together. So we're doing basically the same. I'm not doing anything different from you. And the monkey insisted, like, "Please, panda, help me." And what monkey said, what panda asked to the monkey was, "Okay, monkey, what are you thinking when you are eating breakfast?" And the monkey said, "Well, while we're eating breakfast, I'm thinking about all the things that we have to do at work and also all the people that I'm going to be talking about." Okay, monkey, when we are walking from home to the office, what are you thinking? "Well, I'm still thinking about all the work that I have to do, all the things that I missed, all the things that I haven't done." Okay, when you are working, monkey, what are you thinking? And then he said, "Well, when I'm working, I really wanted to finish. I'm thinking about all the things that we were going to do when we are in the afternoon, what I'm going to do with my family. I'm thinking about the next holiday." Okay, okay. And when we're in the afternoon, just relaxing with our family and friends, what are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking of all the things that I haven't finished at work. I'm thinking also about the comments that they might have said about my presentation. Okay, so that's the problem, monkey. Because when I'm having breakfast and I'm eating, I'm just eat. When I'm walking home, I just walk. When I'm working, I just work. When I'm relaxing with family, I just relax. So that is the difference. And that is actually something that has been studied scientifically. That one of the main agents of our stress are not external circumstances, but it's our mind, our monkey mind, always thinking and worried about the past and future, and that we mostly lack the ability to focus on the present moment. When we actually are able to focus on the present moment, to rest our attention in the moment, then that is aligned and that is a foundation for a calm, serene mind, clear mind, but also for well being and happiness. So I want to ask you to please follow me in this little exercise to learn what does it mean to bring our attention consciously to the present moment. And for this, I'm going to give you a set of instructions. And I want to ask you that if you're able to follow my instructions, please write in the chat the number 1, okay? So now, if you can hear me, please write number 1 in the chat. Okay. So can you see my hand moving in the screen? If so, please write number 1. Great. Can you feel the sensations in your right knee? If you can feel the sensations in your right knee, please write number 1. Can you feel the sensations in your left foot? If you do, please write number 1. Okay. Can you feel the sensations in your upper back? If you feel them, write number 1. Okay. Can you feel the sensations in your belly? Can you feel the sensation of your belly expanding as you breathe in and contracting as you breathe out? If you do, write number 1. Okay. Very good. Can you feel, no, sorry, can you smell any scent in your space? Can you smell something? If you do, press number 1. Can you feel, can you hear other noises in your environment? If you hear noises, sounds, write number 1. Okay. Can you imagine an apple? Please share in the chat what color is the apple that you're imagining. Some reds, greens, reds, yellow. Okay. Can you feel again the sensations in your belly as it expands and contracts? Write 1 if you can feel your belly expanding and contracting. Okay, great. So what we just did is to use consciously the power of our attention. We are all the time bombarded by tons of stimuli, right? Physical stimuli, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, but what we think also. And what we did now is that we consciously, from all the stimuli, we're focusing on just some part of it, right? And sometimes it takes even time. For example, when I ask you if you could feel your knee, it might take a second, right? Until you bring your attention to your knee and you start actually feeling the sensations. It's not that you were numbed before, but it's that it takes that time to really bring our attention to focus it on something particular like the sensations in your knee. And then we were able to move our sensation around our physical senses. And when we moved our attention to the apple, when I asked you to imagine an apple and to grade the color, we were focusing our attention in our mind because this apple, imaginary apple, that's where it lives. It lives in our minds, right? And when we're stressed, most of the time we're living there in our minds. But when I ask you if you could feel again the sensations in your abdomen expanding and contracting, you use again the power of attention to take out the attention from your mind, from your thoughts, and then bring it to something that is happening in the present, actually. The physical sensations in your belly as you breathe in and breathe out. That is a mindfulness practice. So you just practice mindfulness with me. And I want to ask you if you can share with us, how is your level of stress right now? If it diminished a little, if it stayed the same, or if it is higher than when I asked you for the first time, what was the level of stress? So please share it if it's less, equal, or greater, bigger. Less, mostly of us, yes, less stress. Some of us the same, but then, yeah, most of us less, equal, but not greater, right? So that is the power of our attention. We just did a very simple, very fast practice of mindfulness. And what we see is that by using our attention consciously, we can bring down our stress. So this is a first tool that I wanted to share with you that we will share also again during the lessons, but that you can start practicing, because when we are able to be the masters of our attention, that help us to calm and clear our mind. But then also it will allow us to break through the habits, to break through the passive parenting, and to start making conscious decisions of how we can integrate what we will be learning during this time together in these lessons. A second activity that I want to do with you today is to ask you also to share in the chat, what are your current challenges as parents? And by that is, what are the conducts that your child is manifesting that really takes you to the level 8 or 9 of stress, right? What are the actions, the conducts that they manifest that are really challenging you? Please share with us in the chat. Some of examples: not going to school, not listening to me, ignoring instructions. Yes, quick to get upset when something doesn't go her way, lack of interest in school, defiance, constantly on screens and not communicating with me. When I have to repeat things several times, teenage daughter, she doesn't listen to me at all. Laziness. Incredible. We are from all over the world. I'm talking to you from Mexico City. And we have the same challenges: fighting with twin sisters, supporting my child being bullied, helping his sadness and self-esteem. Thank you for sharing. Reputation. Yes, my daughter jealous onto one to another. They fight and say rude things, definitely. And now I want to ask you to think about the skills and qualities that you really wish for your child. Imagine that your child is visiting you and she or he already has 21 years old. So she arrives or he arrives home, knocks the door, and you see her and you see him. And what are the qualities that you wish that she or he could embody? So please share with us some of the qualities that you wish for your child. Qualities and skills. Inner peace, self-respect, definitely. Enthusiasm, yes. Diligence, kindness, love, confidence, curiosity. Good relationships, yes, that is polite, that is kind, that is compassionate, resilient, curious. To show love, that is confident, that has self-respect, definitely. So we actually got also similar answers from other groups. As you see here are some of the common responses that we get in this exercise. And many of the challenges are so universal, right? And also the skills and the qualities that we want for our child. So one thing that we will be exploring also during these lessons that we will be sharing with you is how to actually use the challenges, these difficult moments when they are not listening, when they are being lazy, when they are not showing responsibility, where they are not communicating. How can we use those difficult challenges and moments to actually transform them as possibilities to teach the skills that we want to see on them? So this is something that we will be working all along that program, that instead of seeing the challenges just as challenges or obstacles, are actually opportunities for us to show up differently and then to use those spaces to teach exactly the skills that we wish to see on them. And to be able to do it, that starts with a change of mindset. First, the mindset is to actually think that this is possible, that we can transform challenges into opportunities for teaching and learning with our child. So that is the first challenge that we ask you to open to this possibility, and we will be working on that in the program. And so what's next? As we are coming to the end of this webinar, so someone asked us, please don't make us feel more things in this webinar. Don't worry, this is the last one. Next webinars, it's all content and active content as is in this webinar. But before we meet again, we will be sending you lessons, short lessons that will take you around 10 minutes to complete twice a week. So these lessons are going to be shared via email and WhatsApp on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So please make sure that you check on your email or your WhatsApp group during those 2 days. And I want to share with you how these lessons look like so that you are able to take the most benefit of them. So give me a second to change to them. So here it is. So you will receive a link. And when you open the link, you will see something like this that you can open either in your phone or your computer. So this is the first lesson of the first unit. And you will start your content here where it says begin. So when you have it, you click in begin, and you will have the first content. We will ask you to watch a video. You can do it here, for example, watch a video or just continue with the arrow, and you will get to the video. Please unmute the video so that you can have all
What
the
is the
content.
purpose of parenting?
Or if you prefer just to watch it without it, you will have everything written there too. You navigate through the content with these arrows back, forward to the beginning with the home button. And we will ask you to reflect on some things. So for this, if you can have a notebook near to you that it's related to this program, because there are going to be many questions for you to reflect. And it's great when you are able to write it down. But if you cannot, you can also use your phone. And if you cannot, don't worry. Just think about them, okay? The idea is that this content can be seen and anywhere at any time. So here, for example, you have a couple of videos in the content, and then a time to reflect. It says complete the following. So here is the lessons are not interactive. So when we ask you to complete the following, is to complete it in your mind, right? We don't ask you to write anything there. It's not interactive, but please think about it, and if possible, write it down. We give some important information here, and then we ask you a challenge. And then, for example, to answer this question, again, if possible, write down your responses. If you cannot, just do it in your mind. We always finish with a quote addressing the organizations that made this possible. And then something very important, that when you get here, you scroll down and you will find this black arrow here. This is very important that you click, because that will allow you to complete the lesson. So when you click the arrow, this will take you to a short quiz. So it's always a quiz of this kind that asks you something around the content of the lesson. You will not be graded or anything around it, but it's for us important that you answer the questions so that we know that you are engaged and that you're following up with the content of the lessons. So, for example, here you choose something and it gives you the correct response. And then it asks you for your country code. It's very important for us to get your number. So for example, in my case, I will choose Mexico. And then it asks you to enter your mobile number. And please confirm, because sometimes we make mistakes. So that's why we ask you twice to do it. So you write it twice and then you're done, basically. And it says, thank you for completing this lesson of the Joy of Parenting program. Right? So when you see that, you can be sure that you actually complete the lessons and that we have that information that you completed the lessons. And remember that in order to complete the program, to get your diploma and your surprise at the end of everything, we need you to fill up the surveys and complete the lessons in this way. If you have any question, please feel free to ask questions around this. So now I will share again. Okay. So again, we wanted to remind you that we will continue the communication in this way. Catherine, if you want to mention something around this. Yes.
Sure, thanks, Emiliana. I can let everyone know just once again that we're going to communicate regularly over email. So please, and the WhatsApp channel, for those of you that have been able to join, I'm going to post the channel one more time in the chat. So please look out for our emails. We're going to, as Emiliana mentioned, we're going to send you materials in the form of lessons twice a week, on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. So check your email. Check the WhatsApp channel. All materials and information for the program will be shared on both platforms. And that's all. Thanks, everyone. We're really looking forward to getting started with you.
Yes, and so that you know how everything is going to be working and all the activities that we will have along the program, we will be sharing now with you, but also later through the email and WhatsApp, this calendar of the whole program. So now it's February 16. We are in our Unit 1, the live webinar. So this is an interactive calendar. If you click on the icons, you will have all the information about each event. So we invite you to enter the calendar through this QR code or through the link, and you will be able to see when is the next webinar coming, during which weeks, in which exact days we will be sharing lessons with you, and how all the program is going to be working. And basically, we came to the end. I just wanted to end with this beautiful quote by Jane Nelson, who is one of the greatest specialists on positive parenting. She says, children learn responsibility when they have the opportunity to learn valuable social and life skills for good character in an atmosphere of kindness, firmness, dignity, and respect. So we hope that we will be sharing with you some useful tools for doing that. And in this couple of minutes, please, if you have any question, feel free to answer any suggestion. This is a moment of interaction that we can hear you, and we will be having a next webinar like this in 1 month also for you to share any experience, any questions that you may have during the program. Thank you very much. So one question that it's out of curiosity, how many parents are participating in? We have Catherine, do you know the number of parents that we're having right now?
We have a few thousand parents in the program. We just have multiple groups. So sometimes you see some of the groups that you're in have a hundred or a few hundred or just a few dozen. But yeah, it's a large program.
Yes, large program happening different places in the world at the same time. Thank you. And this webinar and all the other webinars will be recorded in case that you want to go back to the information, or in case of you cannot join for any reason one of the live seminars. Please know that this information is going to be recorded and shared with you. Thank you very much for your participation. It was great to see you connected, and to read you through the chat. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Emiliana, and thanks to all who joined.
Bye-bye.
Bye.